Mr. Speaker, this afternoon, I conclude on behalf of the minority our views on the true state of the nation. Mr. Speaker, His Excellency the President came to the chamber on the 27th of February 2026 and said certain things that demand answers. But Mr. Speaker, as I proceed, let me remind this House of the veritable words of Thomas Jefferson in his first inaugural address as the third President of the United States on 4th March 1801. Mr. Speaker, this is what he had to say. Quote, "All too will bear in mind this sacred principle, that though the will of the majority is in all cases to prevail, that will must be reasonable, that the minority possess their equal rights, which equal law must protect." End quote. Mr. Speaker, on the strength of these veritable words, I, on behalf of the caucus I lead, anchor the submissions of our caucus and to ask the very difficult questions for and on behalf of the Ghanaian people. So let me ask these simple questions. How can government say it has no money to continue building hospitals, yet suddenly find money to purchase a private jet for the president? Mr. Speaker, what are the priorities of this government? No money for hospitals, but money for jets. No money for the sick, but money for comfort in the sky. No money for the cocoa farmer, yet money to buy jets. No money to subsidize electricity, yet money to buy jets. No money to fight galamsey, yet money to sponsor social events. Mr. Speaker, when the government cannot finish hospitals, but can buy aircrafts, it has made its priorities very clear. Again, this nation does not need propaganda. What it needs is a truthful diagnosis and a workable plan. But before I say a word about the president's speech, let me first refer us to Article 67. It provides, quote, "The president shall, at the beginning of each session of parliament and before a dissolution of parliament, deliver to parliament a message on the state of the nation." Mr. Speaker, the operating word shall, not may, not should, shall. So, Mr. Speaker, on the 27th of February, what the president did amounted to nothing. He did not fulfill the constitutional command. What he did, Mr. Speaker, was that he delivered a performance on the state of his imagination. He did not come to account. He came to impress. He brought us a screenplay. And I'm not here to applaud his statecraft. I'm here to expose the flaws in his address and to let Ghanaians know the true state of our nation. 2 hours, Mr. Speaker, soaring rhetoric, elegant metaphors, and carefully managed statistics. Mr. Speaker, yet what the president forgot, that there were idle hands on the streets of our cities. Over 1,539 workers cleared by government's own committee, but they have failed to employ them. This was not mentioned, not even in passing. The sacking of the Chief Justice, Justice Arabe Sabatsokunu, was not mentioned. Electricity tariff hikes was not mentioned. The doomsday that has come back to our homes and our factories was not mentioned. The doomsday levy, 1 Ghana cedi per liter, was not mentioned. Mr. Speaker, let the record be clear that what happened on the 27th of February was not accountability. It was theater. And today, this side of the House rises to do what the president refused to do, to speak the truth about the real state of our nation. Mr. Speaker, 2 hours of oratory, the president found no word useful than any other. He kept saying inherited. He wielded it like a weapon. Every crisis inherited, every deficit inherited, every debt inherited. But every recovery he claimed he delivered. Every upgrade he called it achievement. And every improvement, Mr. Speaker, he attributed it perhaps to the courtesy of the miracle workers at Jubilee House. Mr. Speaker, we submit that this is not governance, but propaganda. Inherited is not a license. It has become a broken record, and the Ghanaian people are wary of dancing to that worn-out tune. Judge this government not by what they claim they met, but by what they have done. Not by the excuses they manufacture, but by the lives they have failed to transform. Mr. Speaker, they claim that they came to meet debts. But what they forgot is that, Mr. Speaker, the previous government went extraordinary lengths to ensure that the country was safe, the economy could run, and public sector workers were paid. Mr. Speaker, economic recovery that the president referred to and celebrated was as a result of prudent economic management that came before him. Mr. Speaker, those decisions were necessary. Decisions that the very people now taking the bow spend years attacking, mocking, and weaponizing on campaign platforms across this country. When Ghana's economy buckled under the weight of post-COVID-19 pressures and accumulated structural weakness, it was the MPP that made the hardest call in recent Ghanaian history. We went to IMF, we negotiated extended credit facility, we structured the debt, we imposed fiscal discipline at enormous political cost. The MPP told Ghanaians the truth about their country's finances, even when that truth was brutal, even when we knew our opponent would use it against us. And indeed, they used it against us. The very people who now stand in this chamber, taking vows for a recovering economy, are the same people who stood on platforms and told Ghanaians that the IMF program was a betrayal. They mocked our fiscal consolidation. They described our revenue reforms. They derided our revenue reforms. They weaponized our sacrifice to win election. And now they have the audacity, the sheer audacity, to stand here and claim the harvest of seeds they never planted, through rain they never endured, on soil they never tended. Mr. Speaker, that is not governance. That is opportunism dressed in a borrowed robe. And the same applies to gold. The gold for oil reserve program that this administration is marketing to Ghanaians as a signature innovation was never invented by this government. It was conceived, designed, and launched by the NPP administration, spearheaded by the former Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. Mr. Speaker, it was our policy, our framework, our initiative. What this administration has done is to take that program, rebrand it, put their name on the door, and present it to the world as though they thought of it themselves. We hereby submit that, Mr. Speaker, it is time the government gave to Bawumia what belongs to Bawumia. There is nothing wrong with continuing a good policy. What is wrong, what is dishonest, and what this minority will not allow to pass without challenge is claiming the intellectual and policy credit for a program the NDC spent years opposing and which MPP built from the ground up. Mr. Speaker, Ghana cannot learn right lessons from its recent economic history if those in power are permitted to rewrite it. This minority will not allow that rewriting to stand. Mr. Speaker, the NDC has betrayed the Ghanaian farmer. Mr. Speaker, When they were in opposition, they promised that they will pay a farm gate price per bag of cocoa, 6,000 Ghana cedis. Today, the reality is different. When farmers woke up one day, the finance minister at the Ministry of Finance, through a press conference, announced a haircut, reduced the price per bag to 2,587. This very disappointing. The farmer who believed in the promises of NDC was disappointed. And what did the president say? We should tighten our belt. Meanwhile, Mr. Speaker, the president is busily ordering for a new aircraft. Mr. Speaker, it is not only the cocoa farmer who is suffering. The rice farmer, who has invested heavily in rice production, is also suffering. Mr. Speaker, rice farmers cannot get market for their produce. Mr. Speaker, the rice farmers are suffering because many people
Minority Leader, your microphone is off. Your microphone is off. You have the floor. Please, you have the floor.
Mr. Speaker, people are now depending on cheap imported rice, and our farmers who invested heavily in rice production are not getting market for their produce. Mr. Speaker, those who have cultivated yam are also suffering. Mr. Speaker, they are not getting access to the market. Nobody is supporting them, and this government is only depending on gold. They are only interested in gold board, promoting galamsey. And Mr. Speaker, we cannot abandon our farmers and think that by promoting illegal mining and getting cheap gold, we will be developing our economy. Mr. Speaker, this government is under that illusion that there are gains in what it is doing. Mr. Speaker, this government is bound to fail. Mr. Speaker, if illegal mining can be stopped, Mr. Speaker, then government must show seriousness. It's a public health emergency, and it is a generational crime against children not yet born. Mr. Speaker, the president gave us some numbers that there are some 1,634 blue water guards deployed, 114 case files open, and 1,033 pieces of equipment tracked. The minority will not waste time dismissing these figures. The water is still brown, they should know. The land is still scarred. The rivers are still dying. We note the reported seizure of approximately 1,000 Shamfang excavators at Tema Port. Mr. Speaker, this we welcome. However, it raises questions that screams for answers. Who imported them? The public deserves to know. And let me be clear, those machines must be publicly destroyed without delay, not stored in a government warehouse where they can be quietly retrieved, not reallocated to some favored contractor. They must be destroyed, crushed into scrap. Mr. Speaker, now let me turn to the gold board. Mr. Speaker, the gold board, according to the IMF, incurred losses not exceeding 7 billion cedis as at end 2025. Mr. Speaker, this report from the IMF is something that, Mr. Speaker, government should be concerned about. How can you be selling gold and incurring losses? Mr. Speaker, the minority raised this alarm upon receipt of the IMF report, Ghanaian on the market. We are not interested in their paper figures for the IMF. Mr. Speaker, what the president did not tell the people of Ghana is the challenges going on in the recruitment exercise. Mr. Speaker, Ghana is a nation that must embrace the future. Artificial intelligence, digital system, and technological innovation are not things we should fear. In fact, if we want to compete globally, we must move boldly into that future. But Mr. Speaker, technology must work for the people. It must become a barrier between, it must not become a barrier between the people and opportunity. Today, many young Ghanaians are deeply frustrated with this AI recruitment system that has been introduced. Across the country, young men and women, graduates, unemployed youth, and hopeful applicants have spent their last money purchasing recruitment vouchers, only to face systems that reject their pins, flag them incorrectly, or prevent them from completing their applications. For many of these young people, this was not just a technical inconvenience, it was the difference between hope and disappointment. Mr. Speaker, we must also remember that Ghana is still a country with real infrastructure challenges. Reliable internet is not available everywhere. Electricity is not constant everywhere. Many applicants do not have laptops or smartphones. Some must travel long distances just to find a place with internet access to attempt their applications. So when a system is designed entirely around digital access without considering those realities, it risks excluding the very people it was meant to help. Technology should level the playing field, not tilt it. Mr. Speaker, when legitimate systems fail, illegitimate actors quickly step in. Already, we are hearing worrying reports of middlemen and scammers exploiting desperate young people, promising shortcuts into recruitment processes in exchange for money. This is how systems that are meant to create transparency can unintentionally create new forms of exploitation. But beyond all of this, Mr. Speaker, there is something even more important at stake: the trust of our youth. The young people of this country want to believe that opportunity in Ghana is fair. They want to believe that if they follow the rules, if they apply through the proper channels, the system will work for them. When that faith begins to erode, frustrations grow. Mr. Speaker, this is not about rejecting technology. AI is here to stay, and Ghana must move forward with digital transformation. But progress must be thoughtful. It must be inclusive. It must always place the Ghanaian people at the center. Therefore, I respectfully, on behalf of my colleagues in the minority, submit that there must be an immediate review of the current AI recruitment system to ensure that it is transparent, accessible, and fair to every Ghanaian youth, whether they live in Accra or in the remotest communities of this country. Because, Mr. Speaker, a system designed to create opportunity must never become a barrier to opportunity. Indeed, our young people deserve better, and the NDC government must hear this loud and clear. The young people of Ghana deserve better. Mr. Speaker, let me proceed to also draw the government's attention to one more thing. There is no NDC Ghana, there is no MPP Ghana. I call on the government forthwith to reinstate all those Ghanaian youths who were dismissed as a result of the directive of government to state agencies. Mr. Speaker, those young Ghanaians have families, have their aspirations. They should not suffer just because there's a change of government. Mr. Speaker, it's been over a year the government must reinstate them to go back to work. It is unfair, and one day, Mr. Speaker, it will come back and haunt them. Mr. Speaker, let me refer to another suffering of the ordinary Ghanaian: electricity tariffs. Mr. Speaker, to go down memory lane, in 2015, we saw electricity hikes going as high as 31%. Mr. Speaker, in the second quarter of 2015. By fourth quarter 2015, electricity tariffs had increased to 59%. Mr. Speaker, in total, under the previous NDC administration, in 2015 alone, electricity tariffs increased by 90%, whilst water increased by 88%. Mr. Speaker, today NDC is back. And what do we see? On 3rd May 2025, electricity tariff increased by 14.75%. On 1st July 2025, 2.45%. On 1st October 2025, 1.14%. Mr. Speaker, on 1st January 2026, 9.8%. Mr. Speaker, that's put together a total of 28.14 in electricity tariffs alone. Mr. Speaker, that is a record of the NDC, and that is a record that the president did not talk about. Mr. Speaker, this government has also failed in ensuring the implementation of the 24-hour economy. They promised the Ghanaian youth that there will be one job, 3 shifts. The president came here, he didn't talk about the one job, 3 shifts. What we see is frustration of our people. And they also promised the women that there was going to be a women bank. Mr. Speaker, it's been over a year. When are we going to have the women bank? That is also another matter the president refused to talk about. Mr. Speaker, on the foreign front, our compatriots who are on peacekeeping are in danger, are in harm's way. Mr. Speaker, on a true state of the nation, we expected, Mr. President, to talk about the suffering of our soldiers in peacekeeping. Mr. Speaker, we are aware of their predicament, the bombing in the area that they are. But Mr. Speaker, the president has not spoken about it. None of his ministers has even had the courage to come to Parliament to address the nation on this. Mr. Speaker, we, the caucus, the minority caucus, hereby say that, Mr. Speaker, we are with our compatriots who are in Lebanon. We share in their pain. Those who are injured, we wish them a speedy recovery, and we urge government to take steps in ensuring that the necessary support systems are in place, the proper diplomatic channels are engaged to protect our compatriots who are on peacekeeping in Lebanon. And then, Mr. Speaker, in Burkina Faso, what happened to our market women? 8 of them killed. No concrete steps were taken to help the families. And Mr. Speaker, again, we say to their families, we mourn with them. Mr. Speaker, we stand with them, and we expect government to take steps to support their families and not to abandon them. Mr. Speaker, it's been several months after the unfortunate helicopter crash. We know that the finance minister has a heavy responsibility. What we understood from the president then was that the finance minister was to act for some few weeks to enable him appoint a new defense minister. Mr. Speaker, unfortunately, because defense security is not the priority of this government, to date, there is no substantive defense minister appointed to take affairs of state at the defense ministry. This, Mr. President, did not talk about, and we see it as a major policy failure of the government. Mr. Speaker, we urge the president to prioritize the security of Ghanaian lives and ensure that our defense ministry is properly manned by a minister with full responsibility. Mr. Speaker, what the president did not also talk about is the human rights abuses we have seen the past year. Many appointees on our side were either arrested without warrant or, Mr. Speaker, even when they themselves had reported themselves to the investigative agency, Mr. Speaker, they granted them very onerous bail conditions with an attempt to keep them, and instead of the Attorney General using the court to prosecute cases, he decided to use press conference to persecute them. Mr. Speaker, we find this very unacceptable. Mr. Speaker, the president has told us that under the independence, the 69th independence of our republic, the theme, building prosperity, restoring hope. Mr. Speaker, we beg to ask the question, what hope are we restoring when the president is failing to address issues in the private sector? What hope have we when the president is not creating jobs? What we want the government to know is that, Mr. Speaker, no matter how long it takes, they have just 3 years left. We, the minority, would endure. We will stand with the people of Ghana, relying on Martin Luther King's words. We cannot walk alone, and as we walk, we must make the pledge that we shall always march ahead. We cannot turn back. The minority will never turn back. We will work with the people of Ghana. We will stand firm for their interests, and we know that, Mr. Speaker, come 2028, the tables will turn. And Mr. Speaker, for those who are abusing their power and authority, let me remind them that the ravening clouds shall not long be victorious. They shall not long possess the sky. We urge them to be measured in the exercise of their duties, even as they are in public office. Yesterday, Mr. Speaker, we experienced a sad situation in this chamber where the Deputy Finance Minister came here with his own piece of propaganda, which propaganda was already contained in the President's State of the Nation address. Mr. Speaker, we welcome that report. And we pray that they would be able to be firm when that day comes for their own accountability. Mr. Speaker, yesterday, these were the words of the chief whip of the majority side. Mr. Speaker, he admitted that the suffering of the Ghanaian youth has hit his side, and these were his own words. Quote, Mr. Speaker, the pressure on MPs as we sit here, our phones are beaming with message about disqualification. And so let me assure the House and the entire nation that the minister responsible for Interior, especially in respect of the services that fall under his supervision, is taking steps to address the issues. Mr. Speaker, it is our hope that the majority will walk the talk and ensure that the masses who are suffering get a fair opportunity to get recruited. And Mr. Speaker, before I resume my seat, let me reiterate one more time that the rice farmers need the attention of government. The cocoa farmers need the attention of government. The young farmers, the poor young farmer needs the attention of farmers. Maize farmers need the attention of farmers. Mr. Speaker, the government should not only think about its comfort. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, that said, I want to submit, finally, that, Mr. Speaker, the President must come again and address the nation on all the issues happening and ensure that the youth of the country who were promised jobs are given jobs, that steps are taken to build a transparent system that will help grow our economy. If they come honestly and work with us, Mr. Speaker, we would work with them for the sake of our country, Mr. Speaker. That said, I want to thank you very much.
Your time is up.